Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, 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 nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Yay, nay, 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 nay. Boker Tov, Boker Or. Good to be with each and every one of you. Hine ma tov umanayim. Shevet kulanu yachad. How good it is then when we connect with each other. Today is Tuesday. Tuesday is Mindfulness and Middot. Tuesday is a day that we come together to pause, to see where we are in the world, to see what character trait we can work on if we need to. Usually if I am working on the same thing that or struggling with the same character trait, perhaps you may be, or maybe not, or maybe you know someone that is, and so you can teach it to them. So we're just going to do a quick stretch today because I want to get right into the learning of today's Middah. So I invite you to raise your arms all the way up if you can, as high as you can. Bring them down to the center and take a nice breath in and a breath out. And reach out to the sides. Turn your thumbs to the right, which raises your palms upward. And reach back up to the heavens and bring it down to your chest and hold it there for a moment. Breathing, feeling your heartbeat. Hearing your breath perhaps with your eyelids closed for a moment. Just a moment in time. I invite you to place your right hand on your left thigh. Put your left hand on the back of the chair if you can, and just look to the left. I invite you to place your right hand on your left. No, we're back. The camera might be backwards, so place the other hand and look to the right or left, whichever one you didn't do. And breathe. Return to the center. Place your hands on your thighs and just move your shoulders a bit. Just trying to get rid of whatever's stress as we learn about patience. So why do I talk about patience today? Well, I did my walk this morning very impatiently. I had a late start this morning, and I like to walk around. I used to work 4, then 5, now 6, and I didn't have enough time, and so I was very impatient with myself. And when I came back, I got a reminder, and it says, I take responsibility for my mistakes. And often, when we become impatient, we're triggered by something. And maybe sometimes it's our fault, and sometimes it's not. But it always is a reaction, and how we don't have control over someone else, but we do have the ability to react in various ways. And sometimes we are impatient and it causes us stress or distress. And so, how do we develop endurance? How do we have more patience? How do we have more patience? So patience is, the Hebrew word is savlanut, which means tolerance, and endurance enlightens to the mind and the soul. Patience is the inner peace and outer peace. It's our ability to endure situations of all kinds and remain calm. Patience out of balance appears in 2 ways. One is frustration and rage and aggravation, while the other is also not so good. It's apathy and indifference. But when our patience is in balance, our relationships with others and our situations through rough spots is a lot easier to deal with. Trust me. And so today I was impatient with myself. Sometimes I'm impatient with others. What causes all of this impatience? Losing patience is a common human experience. Sometimes it's psychological, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's from an environmental factor. Sometimes it's caused by high stress levels. So some of us suffer from chronic stress, and we're always impatient. We can be triggered like this, and some of us don't have high stress levels, and we might become frustrated and maybe impatient every once in a while. But those of us with high stress levels, chronic stress definitely impacts on our ability to remain patient. Sometimes we become impatient because of unrealistic expectations, right? We set unattainable goals. So for me, this morning, I wanted to do 6 laps, and I absolutely did not have time to do 6 laps. So I already created a disappointment, and I already was triggered by being impatient, and I had to take responsibility. I could have left earlier. I could have done a lot, changed the way my morning went. The outcome aligns with the frustration of me not meeting my own expectation. Frustration always escalates impatience. Sometimes it's an external disruption. It might be noise, or it might be the phone, or it might be, bombarded with text messages, right? Or if you're in an office, there's a lot of noise going, other people are talking to you, people are asking questions, right? You might see a whole bunch of emails. You might, if you work like I used to own a medical call center, and you see the queue and there's hundreds of calls waiting, and the person on the phone is not getting out what they need to tell you. They're having trouble getting the message out to you, what you need to. And no matter how you try to elevate that communication and draw from them what you need to hear in a very short period of time, because you see the queue of so many other people trying to get in and you're trying to move it along, we become impatient. We definitely become impatient. Time constraints, right? Sense of urgency, and we're not right there yet. We can't get, we have to, there's a deadline, and we can't get to it in time. It's just not going to happen. And so we become impatient with the other person who is demanding this from us, and also impatient with our own selves. Sometimes it's poor communication, right? So someone says something to you, or you overhear something, and it wasn't intended the way it was, but because you were impatient already, or other stress is happening, that misunderstanding leads to frustration. Frustration immediately makes us impatient. Sometimes it's a disagreement. Sometimes a colleague or a friend or a family member can really test our patience. And when our emotions are running high, the ability to remain composed absolutely can be compromised, right? Sometimes we're just exhausted. How many of us are truly exhausted? I know I'm always exhausted. Some of us are exhausted, and so when we're exhausted, it's hard to hold on to patience. Anything could trigger us to lose our patience. Sometimes we're impatient with things that are happening in the world, right? So when we see injustice, or we see what's going on in Eretz Yisrael, in Israel, and even the innocent in Gaza, and now Turkey's, Lebanon, all of this injustice that is going on. Why me? Why now? Why isn't the hostages being released? Today is day 298. Absolutely feeling so impatient about this injustice. Bring them home, right? People are treated unfair, inequity, all of that. Cognitive overload is like, your brain can only do so much. It's like your plate is over, there's too much on your plate. You can't fit it all in. I don't know if you've ever gone to a buffet. Me with my food stuff. In Israel, in the morning, breakfast, if you're staying in a hotel, breakfast is included. And the buffet is bigger than a smorgasbord at a bar bat mitzvah or a bee mitzvah, or even a wedding. The buffet is totally a major thing. And so some people take 2 or 3 plates and they juggle it like if they were a waiter or a waitress or a server. They know how to do that. I take 1 plate and I try and fit it all on. And sometimes it just doesn't all fit on, right? And so then I try not to go back for seconds. So whatever I took, and that's what I'm going to eat, right? But sometimes I'm like, oh man, I should have done this, I should have done that. And I'm feeling impatient. I'm feeling frustrated because I really wanted that, whatever it was, and I couldn't get it. I could actually go and get it, but I chose not to go and get it because I would then become, another Middah would set off. Lots of times it's because we feel powerless. Sometimes it's our own stuff, it's our own personal history, and something pisses us off, something aggravates us. Sometimes it's discomfort, right? Maybe we're hungry or fatigued, or maybe it's because we don't feel well, right? Maybe we're irritable because of that. And sometimes we're just not feeling great, right? So what do we do about this? So first thing is recognizing what's going on, right? So we take a breath, we recognize, is this me, is it her, is it him, is it them? What's going on in this moment before reacting? We can take proactive steps to cultivate patience. There are strategies, there's stress management, there's setting a realistic expectation, learning better communication skills. Many different things can help us with patience. I want to do a little meditation about this morning. So I invite you to sit with me in this place. And before we embark on this meditation, let's find a place to be comfortable. So for you, it might be the couch. For others, it's a chair. Allow yourself a moment or two to settle in, closing your eyelids if you're comfortable with that, and taking a breath. Try and become calm in this very moment. Seek patience in this very moment. Perhaps we'll cultivate a more general sense of tranquility and acceptance. Maybe that's what you want to hold on to. So with our eyelids closed, I invite you to just relax and listen to the words that I speak. So let's reflect for a moment on our wisdom of our texts. So in the book of Proverbs, it says, a patient person is better than a warrior, and one who controls their spirit is like they can control or capture an entire city. This verse invites us to recognize that strength is indeed inherent in patience. Consider the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity. It is resilience. If we all could do this, wow, there would be inner peace, outer peace, less chaos in the world, less war, less hate. So pause for a moment as we reflect a bit. Thinking about Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, he taught the whole world is indeed a narrow bridge. And the most important thing is not to be afraid. Sometimes we react because we are frightened with a challenge in front of us. And the lack of patience at that moment only increases the fear. So if we can navigate that narrow Mitzrayim, that narrow place with less fear, that narrow bridge, visualizing for a moment the bridge, visualizing a narrow bridge, breathing here, imagine yourself crossing it step by step, walking across that narrow bridge. I see myself in New Paltz, and crossing the bridge. There's a very, very small bridge. Cars can go on it, and you can also walk on it. And there is indeed a narrow pathway. Imagine crossing that, allowing each step to symbolize a moment of patience, each one bringing you closer to where you want to go. Let's shift our focus for a moment on our breath. Let's inhale through our nose, allowing our abdomen to expand fully. Hold the breath for a moment. Feel the stillness inside. Exhale slowly through your mouth. And as you release through your mouth, the breath, release impatience, frustration that you may be holding. Throughout the rest of this meditation, continue this mindful breathing. Allow your breath to deepen. With each inhalation, invite patience into your being. With each exhalation, let go of the tension, restlessness. Breathing in, patience. Breathing out, the tension, letting go, restlessness. I began our meditation, our mindfulness and Middot this morning with a melody that many of you have heard. Rabbi Jay does it from Pesach to Shavuot. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. So what did I bring this melody to this meditation, to this mindfulness, to this Middot? Because the counting of the Omer teaches us the value of taking time to reflect, to grow, for all of those days. Each and every day, we do a little bit more growth, leading all the way up to Shavuot. Perhaps you can visualize yourself having patience in action. Envision a situation in your life where you're seeking greater patience. Picture yourself approaching the situation with calmness and clarity. Breathing here, visualize a soft, warm light surrounding you, representing the patience that you seek. Breathing in, patience, letting go, frustration. In Jewish spirituality, we often turn to God as a model of patience. The concept of Hashem, or whatever name you use for God. Patient, loving presence invites us to mirror the quality in our own lives. Reflect on the many ways in which God's patience is evident in the world. A reminder of this may be that all things unfold in their own time. Even when we want quick answers and we want quick solutions and we want quick restoration to health and we want all of these miracles, all things happen, but they happen sometimes in their own time. Sometimes in their own time, even though we ask God now, release the hostages now, send healing now. Sometimes things take time, and it is a way that we cultivate patience in our own life, expressing gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow from the lessons. So friends, as we close today, let us draw this meditation to a close, bringing our awareness back to our breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, the ground beneath you, the space around you. Inhale. Once more, anchoring the essence of patience within you. When you are ready, I invite you to gently open your eyelids. Take a moment to reorient yourself. Let's take a stretch.
Starting your workout.
Hopefully, Siri says we're starting our workout. Hopefully, it's not a workout for us. Hopefully it is a peaceful day, embracing each moment of this day with grace, with patience. In the spirit of shalom, in the spirit of peace, may we find strength and patience. May it guide us to an understanding of compassion and connection. Let this meditation that we did this morning serve as a reminder that in waiting, we often discover the richness of life itself. We are one human family. We are Judaism fueled by love. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you for joining us. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai dai.